past weekend was a big one for the League of United Latin American Citizens, better known as LULAC. It is, as you may know, the nation's oldest Hispanic civil rights organization, and it was founded right here in Corpus Christi 90 years ago. Quite a milestone. As our Rudy Trevino reports now, the celebration will be going on for a while.
First meeting would have been 1929.
The walls in Ruben Bonilla's office tell a story of history of accomplishments. As former national presidents of LULAC, Ruben and his brothers William and Tony led what's been defined as the foremost civil rights organization representing Mexican Americans.
This plaque across the street from the Nueces County Courthouse marks the spot where in 1929, 3 organizations met for the very first time. And in doing so, they formed an organization that would continue throughout the decades, 9 to be exact, in making differences in the lives of Mexican Americans here in Corpus Christi and across the United States.
They met at that place called Allende Hall, and out of these persons from different communities, they elected a Corpus Christian, Ben Garza, Sr., to be the very first president of LULAC. 90 years later, we should recognize Ben Garza Jr. because the seed he planted has grown into an organization that has great prestige from the White House to the very small house.
LULAC boasts more than 200,000 members and is present in every state of the Union. Its reason for existence is as strong as it was in the beginning.
LULAC began in 1929 as a rush for persons of Mexican descent to retain and gain respect. There was a push then, ironically, for immigration.
Issues that today remain relevant to the organization.
We are a volunteer organization, and everything we do is out of our time, out of the passion we have for defending civil rights.
LULAC Council Number 1 President Nick Adame says much has been accomplished throughout the decades, and it's all because of the founders who had foresight.
We are enjoying the fruits of their labor. We see it in education, in housing, we see it in the workplace sometimes, you know, so, but it goes on and on.
Adame says while the accomplishments have been many, the struggles for equality and fairness continue. LULAC, he says, still has much to do. Rudy Trevino, 3 News.